recording. Okay, welcome to the Node API meeting on 5th of December 2025, and we are going to jump to our agenda. And a quick update. I have merged a pull request in the API stable node to add links prim.js to the supported binding list. And it's a runtime that's being used by the links the links runtime anyway. um and second, I have merged Kevin's pull request to add the shader buffer to Node add-on API. We'll need a follow-up to add shader buffer variants to like type array constructor. So but anyway, thank you for working on this, and that could be a follow-up. And third, I merged a pull request from Babylon. They found that there's an sanitizer complaint if the Node add-on API is being used in Android NTK, and it's about the vPoint the runtime type info. When RTTI is turned on, the sanitizer will complain on this function. So it's suppressing the sanitizer complaint. And given that there's no runtime behavior change, I merge this pull request, given that it's already open for 3 weeks. And then maybe we can jump on to the in progress pull requests. And Karen opened a pull request in the Node API CTS repository to bootstrap the documentation. And please take a look at this pull request. And I put a comment on the pull request suggesting some terminology usage. I think it's especially interesting because I would like to avoid the introduction of the terms like engine or runtime in in this repository, because we already have um we already have I think it's in the folder structure, right? So Coran suggested that we have two subdirectory, which will be correspond to Node API and JS native API tests, respectively. And Coran named it as engine and runtime, respectively. And I suggested to avoid introducing new terms, especially about engine and runtime, which can be ambiguous, and it's so we can. But that's my personal opinion. So if you have any ideas, please feel free to get involved in this
Yeah, I tend
discussion.
to agree with you. With working for the years, all the different tests, I get so used to all these different terms. So thankfully, it'll be very difficult to learn like something new. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you on it.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, I think that's it. And thank you, Karen, for working on this. And then I think we can come to this progress is it's a quick update. I think the progress is ready to land, and the CI is running, and I will merge it if there's no more reviews on it. So please take a look, and yeah.
Yeah, this function was clearly was missing in inside of our API. Like, I think it's good addition.
Yeah. Cool. Um, I I don't have any updates about this pull request. We can. I will try to find some time to review it properly.
Yes, we kind of quickly chat before, like some naming conventions. I'm going to create an issue so bigger audience, Node.js developers will look at it. Suggest proposal how to change because effectively we're changing API file name. So it previously was Node embedding API.h. Now it's called Node runtime.h. And also like all functions have this RT, Node RT prefix effectively. It's relatively short and hopefully RT kind of common abbreviation for runtime. So yeah, well, let me kind of put it down effectively in an issue and just to see what people mostly think about it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. I think that's it for the pull request in progress. I think this progress is also in progress, and I would like to. I think it's worth to talk about this progress. Thank you very much for putting up this progress. It's really interesting and valuable. And I think what I the current progress so maybe I can rephrase this. So the the concern that I have with the current request is that it changes the API usage via so for example if an existing add-on is going to compile with a new header without changing like any API version or API um right without changing any API version, they will be automatically um I'm not sure if I understand it correct, but yeah,
Okay, let me put this. So technically, I kind of addressed all different feedback you previously had and other team members. So I introduced new, we see this Node API use table macro, which by default
yeah.
is not defined. So technically, if people just simply take a code and compile it without any changes, they will have exactly the same code as before. So but if they define this Node API module use table macro somewhere, like what I've done for a couple of tests, like you see on the left-hand side, I have changed two tests, like a 7 factory wrap and one hello world. So these two guys using this new macro among the defines. So these two no kind of modules, they're going to use new vtable. If they don't define this macro, it will be exactly the same previous behavior. If you remember, originally I had to delete one of unit tests because it was actually failing
Yeah,
for me and stuff. So with introducing of this macro, which you suggested in initial code review, it effectively this issue gone and I restored this original test.
I think it might be worth to add a new target in this hello world test because it's quite easy to add a new target and define this new macro. And in that case, we can still preserve, we can still keep this simple hello world add-on for the legacy non-vitable usage.
Should we have like different JavaScript files? Like what we typically do?
The JavaScript file can still like for example, I think the I'm going to copy this path. So the JavaScript file is like require this add-on, and we can add a new require here. So for example, we can require um, here this add-on is called binding. right? We can add a new target here with the definition of AMPI USB table. So we can add a new target here named binding underscore vtable. And in the JavaScript file, we can require the new binding along with this existing binding.
Oh, and actually, the rest of the body will be just like a looping through two different bindings.
Yeah,
Did I catch
yeah.
your idea correctly? Okay.
In that case, we can also ensure that the legacy binding can coexist with the new vtable binding in the same process.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
cool.
I'll do it. So definitely, in this case, I actually can apply this binding to pretty much more tests, not just two. It's a great suggestion. So we can actually see much broader coverage rather than just two small tests. I can extend pretty much all tests, but initially, like I want to kind of just make sure that this idea about introducing the table is actually viable. It's something that we may want to even consider. So I believe it addresses a lot of interesting scenarios, and but again, so it's a question like if node.js community accepts or not.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful, and I think the only thing that we want to keep is that after the introduction of the new table, we want to keep the headers still compatible with legacy or with existing add-ons. Um,
Right. So quickly, what happened? Like, if you look on these headers files, we pretty
yeah,
much all these different sections which been there before, it's untouched, but it's governed by this new macro. And
yeah,
effectively, after that, we have this else statement where we're repeating exactly the same functions, but they have now this body because we need
right,
to have a static inline. My initial implementation was much simpler, and mostly because I was using MSVC compiler, and MSVC compiler does not have true support for C. And as soon this code been compiled by true C compiler like GCC or Clang, I got all these different compilation issues, and using static inline like this, and especially also splitting this vtable effectively in two parts. Like now we have two vtables effectively. We have one vtable defined for JS native API, another vtable defined for Node API. Because
right,
otherwise, just didn't work. In some of our unit tests, especially inside of JS native API, they don't include Node API.h. They include only JS native API. And according to C language rules, it's so much more difficult. In C++,
right.
everything would work. I just put inline, everything kind of was fine. But C is different. That's why I had to use static inline over there.
Yeah. All right, cool. I think it's really nice.
But the
And
what it gives us, like if you look on the dependencies of any kind of node modules, they don't depend on any they don't have actually any imports coming from node.js anymore. It means like these modules compiled with this vtable can be truly used in different runtimes, and we don't need to have any hacks anymore. Like for Windows to have some very specific preload hook to decide where we always think kind of API coming from.
yeah,
Uh, on kind of POSIX systems, I believe we're using some kind of weak symbols, and we just if somebody kind of defines these symbols somewhere, we kind of bind into them. It actually in very simple scenarios like node.js as is, everything is fine. But as soon as we start to use our modules in some other runtimes or their combinations, the whole kind of management of dependencies becomes very difficult. Here we kind of switch into very explicit way. We just injecting it. I want to go a little bit one step forward, like instead of just simply injecting this table and assuming it will become kind of global. Ideally, I believe we should do more like, if you like, introducing kind of factory a callback, and this factory callback can actually retrieve you this table. but I believe we can do it in future. Let's start with simple vtable first.
Would they be compatible with this current behavior?
Um, the price we would pay in this more advanced thing, which I want to do, it's we will not able to use simple C functions anymore like we use today. Because if we want to keep using C functions as we use them today, we must have some global solutions like global variables. But if you think I'm putting this parallel with Java GNI. If you think in Java GNI, they also use vtable, but technically the way it works, each function receives this vtable as a parameter, and they don't require to have it global, right? Like they may have some internally alignment with threads and stuff, but it's much more flexible. But I think it's much bigger change, I would say, if we have to go this route at this point. But we can make it compatible in the future. We can definitely can.
Right.
For example, if we would require that all our functions, Node API functions, will have an API in V as the first parameter or something like this, and we somehow to start interpret it as a something which also contains vtable inside, when we can definitely kind of do interesting things. But if you like to go a little bit more advanced scenario, I can also think about it how we can kind of implement it here. Way this advanced scenario may work, like think about like we have, for example, in Microsoft Office, we can have like multiple runtimes. We can, for example, have embedded a libnode. We have embedded React Native engine. We can have some other runtime. So technically, the same application, say Word.exe, can potentially have multiple runtimes for JavaScript. And if we want to create the same native modules shared across them, it will be nice to effectively DLL is just yes, we can define all stuff, but when we instantiate module, it will have its own instance of injected Node API runtime, depending on which effectively runtime kind kind of wants to use this DLL. I think it's Microsoft implemented such thing a long time ago called Common Object Model, if you like. Factories, objects, unknown interface stuff. But yeah.
Right. I think, well, it also reminds me that I'm wondering if we should add a test that contains like two compilation units or multiple compilation units, and this global variable definition does not collide with each other. I think we define the vtable global variable here with the API module initializer, and I'm wondering that if we need to add a test for this.
Yeah, good point.
Otherwise, I think it should be good. Cool. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Um, should should we close this issue in this case?
Uh,
Or we can keep
in
it
some,
open until we merge the vtable pull request.
right. So in some sense, like this table will be solution to this issue, um, and going forward, But again, it
Yep.
will be even our solution will not close the issue completely. We really need to have other runtimes to pick it up. But it sounds like uh, it was developer seems to be from Dino project was very excited about it, and also from I think from Links, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's at least we have two runtime supporters which gave some positive feedback.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else to discuss?
Yeah, I don't have anything else today.
All right, cool. Last item, I think I can um chat about this. So for the next node add-on API release, before we can release this add shader buffer, I think we'll need to do the follow-up with adding the temporary constructor variant for shader buffer first, and then we can do the release together with the shader buffer, so that will be feature complete to do the release. So I marked this release proposal as a draft until we can have the follow-up for adding the temporary constructor variant for shader buffer. So yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
sounds good.
I think that should be all for this time. Next week, I think it's getting close to the holiday season. I will still be here, available to join the meeting. Um, yeah, and I think Kevin might be missing, but anyway, feel free to join the meeting if you still have the chance.
Yeah,
And
I should be around too. I'm not sure about 26th of this December, but previous next couple of weeks I'll be definitely should be around.
yeah, cool. We can cancel the 26th session, and well, I will see you on GitHub and see you next week.
All right, see you. Thank you.
Cool. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Have a good weekend.